far as poverty and God's message of mercy and justice in the Christian church, it is in the early church, it comes from the prophets. Prophet Micah says, "Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with God." And then, of course, Jesus Christ, and his greatest commandment is to love God and love your neighbor. And so the role of the Christian church is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who became man, walked with us, and actually preached that good news of mercy and justice, a great role model for us all. And then the role of the Christian is to give witness to that love, to give witness to God's love, and then glorify him in that work. So we Christians are all made in God's image. We believe we're made in God's image. And so as a disciple of Christ, we're called to care for one another, love one another. And so Scripture says, Jesus says, "Truly I tell you, whatever you do for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you do for me." And so we work to feed the hungry, to give drink to the thirsty, to shelter the homeless, to clothe the naked. Not because it feels good, but because we love God and we desire to share that love and see Christ in all that we need in loving our God and loving our neighbors. And so through prayer, scripture, study, and worship, we live out that faith, drawing close to God as we reach out, and trusting and believing in his love, and living out his will. So for 2,000 years, the Christian church has kind of done that, has been involved in a lot of justice and works of mercy. And sometimes places, churches have that's become their mission, where they're actually like they facilitate a school or a hospital, because that's their mission, and it's so important. Case in point, I work for Salvation Army Booth Family Services. I'm going to get real practical here, real local. But I work for Salvation Army Booth Family Services, and the Salvation Army is a church. And back in the early or the late 1800s, that church, the Salvation Army Church, developed a social service arm of their work. And so that became Booth Family Services. So in Grand Rapids here, Booth Family Services, the Salvation Army Booth Family Services, is comprehensive programs to assist low-income families and in our community. And one of the programs of that Booth Family Services Salvation Army is called the Congregational Partnership Program. And I'm just going to speak to this because I really think it kind of it's a practical way to kind of live out what we've been talking about, and that we are addressing poverty here in our community by focusing on one issue, and that is homelessness and housing. And so family homelessness particularly. So as a community, we have a vision to end homelessness. We believe very strongly, a coalition of agencies, government, city officials, we all believe that housing is the key to ending homelessness. And so we work to ensure that people facing a housing crisis have access to housing resources right at the front door of our system. So through the Congregational Partnership Program, we encourage congregations, people of different faith traditions, to be part of this partnership where we advocate for individuals and families needing housing assistance, and we meet people where they're at. We meet people where they're at. We acknowledge their dignity. We respect their ability to work through their crisis and support their strengths to be successful in their housing. We don't know what they need. They know what they need best. And if we listen to that and respond to it, we can solve the problem. We also track the results and evaluate and include the participant on the work that we do, so that we're really responding to the need of the people. So the CPP, the Congregational Partnership Program, is an ecumenical program for our community, for the faith community in general, to really look at the bigger picture and not only address immediate needs, but also support long-term housing stability by providing rent assistance and relational support. The partnership helps those in need connect back to the community, and then also provides an opportunity for people of faith to connect with their faith and their gospel walk. So it's connection. The people of faith, so together we're ending homelessness one family at a time. And this is kind of me talking now, but I really do believe that poverty is personal. It's about connecting with whatever a person needs and being an advocate for them. And along that walk, you too understand what that means, and then helping them get what they need. I think that being poor means you don't have options and you don't have a choice. And I think it's really important for us as a community of people of faith that do have choices, that we provide choices for people in crisis. And housing is a core fundamental piece of that. Some pediatricians say that housing is a vaccine for children. It's hard to get a job if you don't have an address on your resume. It's hard to get transportation if you're not on the bus route. So we really feel that housing is that foundational piece from which all things then flow and people can flourish. If we're going to solve a problem such as homelessness, we all need to work together, we all need to connect, and we all need to be able to be responsive to the needs. Often in our program, people of faith have a hard time because they feel like they're not doing enough, or they, the participant in the program might be doing things differently. And I say, all we do is witness here. All we do is witness Christ's love. And that is what we do best, is connect with people and connect people back into the community so that they feel like they are part of something bigger and they can grow and they can thrive, and that lifts our community up to a place where we all want to be. Mother Teresa, she's my hero. But she kind of wraps it all up here by saying, we're all God's children, so it is important to share his gifts. Do not worry about why problems exist in the world. Just respond to people's needs. Some say to me that if we give charity to others, it'll diminish the responsibility of government toward the needy and the poor. I don't concern myself with this because governments do not usually offer love. I just do what I can do. The rest is not my business. God has been so good to us. Works of love are always a means of becoming closer to God. Look at what Jesus did in his life on earth. He spent it just doing good. I remind the sisters that 3 years of Jesus' life were spent healing the sick and the lepers, children and all other people, and that's exactly what we're doing, preaching the gospel through our actions. It is a privilege for us to serve, and it's a real wholehearted service that we try to give.